Part 4. Defensive Line. Van Tromp's Tight Line. The next period finally saw the line of battle being used between European powers. The undeclared Anglo-Spanish War ended in 1604. By 1609, the northern provinces of the Netherlands had gained their independence from Spain, but the Spanish still held the southern part of the Netherlands. The Dutch had become both a naval and a mercantile power. Indeed, they were entering their golden age. The Amsterdam Stock Exchange was established in 1602 by the Dutch East India Company for dealing in its printed stocks and bonds. The English and the Dutch had been allies against Spain, but at sea the Dutch were developing in different ways. Their priority was trade protection. They needed to escort their merchant ships and protect them from privateers such as those based in the Spanish Netherlands. The threat came from small maneuverable vessels which were known as Dunkirkers. Against them the Dutch sailed similar vessels which were described as frigate-built. This meant that they had a single continuous deck. These large frigates carried around 40 guns on their gun decks and weighed around 300 tons. Dutch shipyards were producing a large number of ships to standard designs, such as the fluyt, a fast-sailing vessel with a large capacity for cargo and a small deck. But unlike the larger Dutch East Indiamen, the fluyt could not be turned into a warship by fitting it with guns. The English were developing larger, more powerful warships to give them command of the seas, or at least control of their home waters. These latest great ships had fuller underwater lines, more able to support the weight of their armament. The first was the Prince Royal of 1610, followed by two-decker warships of 700 to 900 tons carrying more than 40 guns. They were more suitable for a battle fleet than for trade protection. The English were also developing heavier guns. These were too short to be trained around to fire ahead, so they were mounted broadside, but most of their fleet were hired merchant ships. These sailed as winter and summer guards to protect against privateers and pirates. But at the Battle of the Downs, a weak English squadron was unable to prevent the Dutch from violating the neutrality of English waters or English ships. So much for command of the seas. The resumption of hostilities between the Dutch and the Spanish finally saw the formation of a line of battle at the Downs in October 1639. By this time Spanish warships were better armed, but they still favoured boarding tactics. The Battle of the Downs was a prolonged action. The Spanish were trying to escort supplies and troops up the coast from Dunkirk to Flanders. They hoped to do this by using English waters and English ships. They had actually succeeded in doing this twice before. This time the Dutch were determined to prevent them. Off Calais on the 18th of September 1639, 11 Dutch ships under Maarten van Tromp were trying to intercept the Spanish convoy, even though they were heavily outnumbered by the convoy's powerful escort. The Spanish could have made straight for Dunkirk, but their commander must have fancied his chances of grappling and boarding the Dutch ships. The Spanish approached in their preferred horseshoe formation. Van Tromp formed his ships into a tight line and held off the Spanish by making passes. The Dutch ships avoided being grappled and boarded. The Spanish were unable to get closer than musket shot. Eventually the Dutch gained the weather gauge. Then the Spanish anchored in the neutral English anchorage of the Downs. The Spanish remained at anchor while the Dutch were reinforced. Finally, on the 21st of October, Van Tromp attacked the anchored Spanish fleet with fireships. The Spanish tried to break through the Dutch blockade, but lost at least 25 ships. 20 were driven aground, burnt or captured. The battle marked the rise of a new naval power and the eclipse of the English and Spanish.